Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So we're not going to be doing a project today, but we are going to be having a little tour around my office before I start packing it up. So if you want to see how it's all set up right now, then just keep watching. So this is my wardrobe, which is kept at the back of the room. That part hasn't changed. What has changed now is that my ragsock cart kind of gets parked in front of it. It's not really there for any particular reason. It's just because I don't go into my cupboard particularly often, so it's a good place to put the cart because that can then roll up behind me and sit behind me while I'm doing things, and I can kind of spin around and get stuff I need out of the cart. So we'll do a quick walkthrough of the cart afterwards, but we'll go into the cupboard. So on the door on the left hand side is where I keep all of my vinyl. This is sort of my heat transfer vinyl and also my adhesive vinyl that I use for my Cricut. I'll be dead honest, I don't use it anywhere near as often as I should. But it is there. It is a really good way to keep it, and it's probably the way I'm going to keep it when we move into the new house. I've got a little bit of a decorative frame there with some lights, which again is just there for decoration. When you move into the wardrobe itself, I'm not going to go through too much of this. I'm just going to give you a really brief overview because it hasn't changed from the last time. It's just got a lot more messy. Moving is going to be so much fun. So I just keep all my 12 by 12 papers in that top right hand corner. I've got paper stacks underneath that. I've got 6 by 6 underneath that, and then right at the bottom I kind of keep all of my old inserts. They're just in some kikki.K. I saw all the dog hair down there, sorry about that. They're kept in kikki.K stuff, magazine holders, and it's just really simple. I've then got an Ikea 9 Calyx drawer. There's less crafty stuff in there and more lifey stuff in there that just kind of needs to have somewhere to live, so that's where that all kind of goes. And then on the right hand side, which you kind of can't get into as well because my guillotine sits in the way, I've got some of my doubles of my Paper Lovers books. Yes, I have doubles, I'm ridiculous. Some planners that don't fit out here, so they live in there. And then just some boxes and bits and pieces. It's kind of a junk side, not really junk, but more stuff that I can't fit anywhere else. And I'm very much looking forward to when we move into the new place being able to reorganize that. On the back there I have it's a Ikea pin board that I kind of keep a bunch of paper clips and fancy stuff that I've got out of my Planner Babe boxes. They kind of live all in there. I need to find a better place to put them so they're a bit more on display so I remember to use them. I think I'll keep them on my little display board that I've got sitting above my desk when we move into the new house, but I'll show you that in a sec so you sort of know what I'm talking about. Alright, so moving back to the ragsock cart, I've done a walkthrough of this not too long ago, so I'll link that one down below for you, but I'll do a really quick overview. So at the top here I keep all my stickers, I keep both of my sticker boxes plus all my postcards. On the right hand side are all my kits, on the left hand side are the postcards and my ultimate sticker book, plus some stickers that I need to sort. I also do have my Aldi alcohol markers sitting over there on the left hand side. They are something that I will be destashing when we move. I don't need them anymore because my Copics have superseded them, but they are very good beginner markers and I really do recommend them if you're just starting out. Jumping down onto the next level, I have my other sticker box at the back. That keeps all of my stuff that doesn't fit in the other sticker boxes. So there's some kit bits, there's some partial kits, there's some boxes in there, just anything that doesn't fit in the other sticker sheets. In front of that I've got my MemoryDex box. I'm going to redo that as well. I just have a better idea for using that in the future, so I'm going to redo that, but for now that lives in there. And then on the right hand side I have my card stash. So these are all the cards that I've made that I haven't given to anybody yet. They live in there, and that way when there is a birthday or something similar, I just have a way to be able to grab hold and send them out. Right down at the bottom I have my blank envelopes and card bases. I've got them in craft, black and white because they're the ones I tend to use the most often. I've got my most used paper stacks in there as well. They're my Lawn Fawn ones and my craft one because I do use them all the time. I have some pre-cut out die cuts in those plastic tubs in the middle. They're the shaker ones from Say What tags. And some more sort of base kind of ones that I can use whenever I like. And then right there on the right hand side I've got black and white blank card bases to use for when I'm making cards. So this part is new. This is it's a Calyx set that I've put down on its side because I just needed some more boxes that were easy to access. The hardest thing with my other set of shelves is obviously that they're in the cupboards or right in the corner, which makes them really hard to get at. So right on the top there in the left-hand corner, that's my guillotine. I use that mostly for cutting inserts. It's big, it's bulky, and it's kind of in the way, so it lives in the corner where it's not too in the way. I'll admit it's not the best place for it, but I'll try and find somewhere better to put it in the new house. I moved my planners from down up on, they were up on top of the Calyx shelves in the corner, but what that did was it made them got really dusty. I couldn't reach them, and they just, I don't know, something about being up there, they were just really hard to access. So I put them down here. They're a bit in the way. If I had my way, I'd move them over into the corner, and then the guillotine would sit in the side, but the shelves don't sit off that far. So this is where they live. Below them, I've got my DIY cuts machine, which obviously gets used a lot, and my portrait, which gets used very little, but it is there, and I will at some point find some time to learn how to use that. In the plastic containers under there, this is where I keep all my pre-cut dies. Not all of them are coloured in, but a lot of them are. And that's just when I'm bored, I grab out some dies and just colour in just for the sake of it. The two little ones, like the two higher ones, have the little dies, and then the ones that don't fit because they're too big, they live in that flat one on the right hand side. I also have some vellum just sitting there at the moment. It should be in the container to the further to the right, but unfortunately not at the moment. On the far right hand side, it's sort of a half my area, half Ryan's area. So I've got my wedding planner living down there, only because I pull it out a lot. I still look into it a little bit, so it sort of lives there for easy access. I've got a bit of a paper caddy there. It keeps all my really good drawing paper my Canson paper that I like using so much, plus some other bits and pieces that I kind of reach for a lot, again, just for easy access. My foil quill is living there. That review is coming very, very soon, so stay tuned for that. I also got some garbage bags there because you need to have them, and then Ryan's got some of his filming equipment living there on the corner because that way it keeps it in easy reach. So if we move down into the actual shelves, yes, they're a little bit messy, so please excuse that. Sometimes I just chuck stuff on top if there's not enough room. So these are all of my Paper Lovers books, and then I also keep some scraps of magnetic sheets up there. The other bits live below, so I'll show you that in a sec. But that's just where I keep all my Paper Lovers books that I say are in use, so I can pull at them whenever I need. Moving across, I've got my Dream Life Journal and my Dream Life Starts Here books, so they're there for when I need to grab them. And then all of my large notepads from kikki.K. They live sideways so that I do have that sort of room on top. I just find that way that the space is a bit more used because it goes deeper into the shelf. Moving across to the next one, I have all of my kikki.K sticker books. I've got doubles of some of them, but they're all still there. I also have just some white cardboard, and that's my paper scraps folder. So anytime I've got paper scraps left over, that's where they go. And it's just there because it's easy to pull out and grab whenever I need them. The next one over is probably the junkiest one in the house, and that's because it's got anything there that I haven't sorted out yet. So it's sort of in folders to be sorted. There's some boring stuff like adhesive paper and envelopes and bits and pieces, but I do need to sort that one out a little bit more. Moving down to the very last bottom corner, I've got all of my heat foils. So I've got my mink foils, my couture creations, they all live in there. The next little folder there, filing thing, has all my die cutting stuff, so all of my plates, they all live in there. And then the next one over, I've got some different kinds of cardstock. I've got my Canson bleed proof paper, which I don't like as much as I like my Express It card, so it's there, but I just don't use it so much. So sort of things I don't reach for quite as often. Further along, I have all of my Kaisercraft sticker books and all of my sticker books that basically aren't kikki.K. They all live in there. I do have a kikki.K one that's hidden in there that I've just noticed, so not supposed to be there, but it is. But just easy again to find whenever I need them. I am aware I have too many sticker books. I'm very well aware. And then moving over, I have my little kikki.K notepads, again kept on their side so that I can pile them up. Easy to reach, easy to grab, and I do use them just for jotting down notes a lot. I'll grab a hold of a paper pad and just move on. And then the very last one there, that's what I like to call my giveaway box. I keep it in black because then I know it's not for me. I'm not supposed to go rifling through there. Anything that's in there is stuff that I'm going to give away at some point or another. The only thing that's not, if you sort of see right over on the right hand side, there's my ultimate wrapping book and then my magnetic sheets, which is what I put all my die cuts and stuff on. Alright, so moving into the corner, so this is now what's sort of flush with my desk, I guess. So right up the top, I've got another 2 of the magazine folders, which just hold cardstock and paper. I know I have a lot of them. I need to put them all in one place. I just haven't got to that yet. But I keep my printer up the top now, which is so much easier. I don't go to the printer as often, and the stuff that was up really high was actually too high for me to reach. So at least the printer now I can reach it. If you come down, the Cricket's on the next shelf. That's obviously pretty easy. Again, don't use the Cricket anywhere near as often as I should, but at least it's somewhere where I can get at it. It's on the right height. And just in case anyone's wondering, the way I created that one shelf was I just took out the middle bit for the Calyx. The only thing is, don't do that on every shelf, because otherwise it's not going to have any support for the shelf above it. Coming down onto the next level, I keep all of my planners anonymous. They are stored in these little plastic envelopes. I have done videos on that and I will link them for you down below. But I've also got the little labels on the front so I know what's in each one. And then just when it gets full is when I fill it up, like fill that in and then move on to the next one. The magazine holders there are from Officeworks, and I got them from Officeworks on purpose because they were a little bit wider than the kikki.K one, so it could mean I fit 3 really comfortably in there, as opposed to kind of having 2.5. And then obviously I've still got space to grow with the rest of them. Next shelf down is a bit more of a utility shelf. The one on the left, I have all of my Cricket mats. I've also got some plastic folders, some stuff from Scats Cats with the heat transfer vinyl kind of choice sheets or swatch sheets, I guess that's what you call them. Laminating bits and pieces, and then just a bit more junk stuff. And then on the right hand side, I have it's a very old laptop that sort of lives there because I sometimes use it for work. A couple of TNs, and then another magazine holder with some scrap paper and bits and pieces in there. Down the bottom is complete storage and nothing else. So there's some bits and pieces. I actually don't know what's in the left hand side. I think it's wedding stuff. Some kikki.K boxes that just have bits of paper and bits of sort of tax stuff and all those sort of random things that you've got to store somewhere. That all lives in there and it's hidden so I can't see it. And then moving on to the right hand side, again, a bit more storage stuff. The box there's got some destash stuff in it. I've also got some inserts all in that craft box. So it's all just stuff I don't actually need to go and get, but stuff that I haven't yet found a way to store in an easy to get at kind of way. So now this is sort of more onto my desk space. This is the part that I guess changes the most often. So up on the side of the Calyx, I just have some bits and pieces that are just pretty. It's just decoration. It doesn't actually move. But I do love just having some nice pretty things sitting there. My pens haven't changed all that much. They're still in the same boxes from Ikea. I actually have more of them, which is they've sort of transformed from 2 rows of like 6 to 3 rows of I don't know how many. So there's lots of pens in there. Right at the back there's a plastic Kmart clipboard. On one side I've got all of my Copic swatches, so I'll pull that out and we'll show you a zoom in a minute. But it's got all my Copic swatches, and then on the other side it's got all of my Distress Oxide swatches, just so that they're there and they're easy to find. I just find that's a really easy way to use them. I've also got my black fine liners at the front in all of the different widths because I find them really easy. A caddy with all of my adhesives and bits and pieces in it, and a couple of cute little things that keep washi tapes and lip balms and things like that. I've also got my blending brushes back there, and then paint brushes as well. If you move straight up, you've then got my sort of where I keep all my other clips, not my ones that came out of my Planner Babe boxes. This is where I think I want to add in a bunch more from the Planner Babe one and kind of really deck that out. Sort of a plan I have, but then I'm thinking I don't know where I'm going to hang that, but we'll work that out. On the top of that little Kmart shelf, I've got my oil. It's not an oil burner, but I kind of put like those wax melts. That lives in there, so if I do kind of want a bit of smell in here, that's what I do. I've got my cup from So Lame 2019, which keeps my glue stick in it at the moment, but did keep pens up until a couple of weeks ago. It just sits up there because it's easy. I've got all my kikki.K pens in that really big pen holder, and then I've got 2 kind of rose gold coloured ones that keep pencils and other tools that I don't reach for quite as often. Moving down into the Kmart shelf, this is just a really good one from Kmart. On the far left, I have all of my Kaisercraft inks. I've got some Distress ink, and I've got some Stays On. Moving into the middle, I've got half of my, or well, not quite half, but a third of my Distress Oxides at the top, and then I've got my brads, a little bit more ink, and some embossing powders in the middle. I've got my blues of my Distress Oxides, which I think I use more than anything else, so they're the sort of pile I grab for the most. Plus I've got some pre-cut die cuts because I've been making a lot of pet sympathy cards recently, so I've got them ready to go. I don't know why I'm kind of anticipating needing to do more of those. In the middle there, my little hedgehog keeps my ink blending tools just because he looks really cute and he fits, and I needed to get him off my desk. And then I've got the rest of my oxides plus my really strong double-sided tape and my foam tape live up there, followed by all of my ink pads that I use on a regular basis. So my Memento, my VersaFine, and my Versamark, that all lives down there. That Kmart Caddy is sitting on top of 6 sets of Daiso acrylic drawers. I really like these ones, and they're surprisingly strong, and I didn't think they would be. The ones on the far left are obviously stuff I don't reach for very often, if ever, because they are sort of stuck in behind everything else. I think actually the ones in the bottom left corner there are actually completely empty, and it's there more to keep the Kmart thing solid. Bit in the middle, I've got some of my binding tools, my wax tools, some needles and thread. I've also got my Kmart erasers, not Kmart, kikki.K erasers, sorry, from last year's advent calendar. They sort of live right down there in the bottom corner. They're there more for decoration. I need to find a way to decorate them more. And then the ones that are sort of sitting, the drawers that are on the far right hand side, I've got some blending tools and some pre-printed and pre-cut out labels for oxides, so that I've got them all there ready to go. I've got the wobblers in the middle there. I've got some elastic for my TNs. I've got my wax seals. And then down the bottom there, I've got all of my extra sprocket refills, so for when I run out of sprocket ink. Then obviously got my screen there. Before we get over to the screen, there's also a little box sort of hidden next to my label maker there. I just have some stamps that I need to give back to Trish hiding in there. But I also have my journaling guide from We Are Memory Keepers that sits in there as well, and a bit of a to-do pad, because sometimes you just need a pad on your desk. So I've got a to-do pad that sits in there in the corner. My label maker sits right next to that, really easy to grab at when I'm using it for all the different things that I do. And then my keyboard sitting next to that. I keep some Express It blending card in between the next sort of set, and that's just because I use it all the time. So I just sort of grab at it. On top of that, these are 2 very new additions. These have only come in recently. The top one is, and I don't quite remember the brand of them, but I'll link them down below. They're from It's Mega stationery up on the Gold Coast. One's a marker storage caddy. I'll show you in a minute the lid, because you can just pick it up and go, but it stretches out like all the way, so it can be straight or not, and I'll put in some clips in a second of that. And then that's on top of my new washi storage. It's not full because I have actually packed up all of my washi. All it's got in there at the moment is my Fox and Cactus, my Simply Gilded, my washi, the stuff that I use reasonably often. That all lives in there, but that will get filled up, and hopefully a couple of extras added in there for the rest of the washi when we move. So this space over here is generally where the light lives, so I kind of move things over when the lights go in there. But I've got 2 of the Kmart caddies over there. Both are painted the same way. One was my prototype, and then one was the one you saw. So the prototype one has some cleaning stuff, some notepads, and some bits and pieces that I don't reach for often, but just need somewhere to live, and that's where they're living for now. So my Planners Anonymous pens actually outgrew their old container. I have too many of them. So they're living in there for now. They will not live there permanently. I will find a better place to keep them when we move into the new place. But at least for now, that's where they are, and that's where they can, at least I know they're all together. My other DIY caddy is sitting in front of that. That's the one that moves along whenever I'm filming or crafting. It kind of moves around a little bit. It's probably the only really transient item on my desk. So there's that one, and then sitting behind that, I've got another set of Daiso drawers. Nothing particularly special kept in there. It's just more because I had a spare set and I didn't want to take them off my desk. Sitting on top of that, I have my washi swatch book. I have some stickers. There's some Planners Anonymous stickers in that getaway binder, and then I also have that's the binder that shows where I keep all my stamps. I think I showed that in a video recently, so I'll link that down below for you as well. So if you move above all of that and go up to my vision board, it also hasn't changed in a while. It's just had some extra things sort of shoved on there. Sort of looks a bit more messy than it used to, but that's all right. It will get redone when we move to the new house if I've got space for it, which I'm not sure I do. Up there I've got all the decorations. I've got some pictures of some friends and some things I've made. Plus also I keep one of the letters that I've got from Christina from kikki.K because I'm so super proud of it. So that lives up there. If we then move across to the other corner, this is where I keep all of my Planners Anonymous washi. And yes, it gets kept separately because it is so special to me. I really do love my Planners Anonymous washi tape. So it lives in an Ikea display box. Again, need to find a new place in the new house for that to live, but I'm sure I will. And then above that, I've just got Ash. Ryan gave that to me a really long time ago, so I like to keep it up there. If we move down, I have another this is actually a shoe rack that the Kmart ones, but I just adjusted this one so that it was a little higher and then had a bit of a gap for my mink. I actually broke my mink. I'm not sure that I can actually keep using that. It got some stuff stuck in it and I think I've actually killed it. So I need to look at that before, like when we move and if I'm going to keep it. Above that, sorry I skipped down to the mink, don't know what I did that for. There's a big pile of stuff in the middle there on the side. It's one of the drawers from my old washi drawers and it's there because it's got all of my samples in it. It's just living there because there's nowhere else to put it at the moment. That big plastic thing in the middle there, that's actually the lid for the marker storage, and it's there because that way I can grab it and go with the marker set whenever I need to. I've also got my Whistle and Birch planner there in the corner. It's just there because that way it doesn't get broken up against anything else, so it's sort of there for the moment. I've got all of my smaller planners living over on this side, so I've got my kikki.K V6, my holographic kikki.K, and all of my TNs. I love having all of my Planners Anonymous ones sitting there. They make me happy. I just need need Forest Falls because it's kind of missing and I'm very sad about it. I've also got a couple of my Mumsy and Bub ones sitting in there as well. Like I said, I've got the mink on the next shelf. I've also got some things that I'm working on for my TN 101 video that's coming really soon. And then some baby wipes to clean up after myself. And then the tubs at the bottom are more keeping things that I don't need out. So the one on the far left, that's got planner bags in it. So all the ones that come with the TNs, anything that comes with the kikki.K ones, they're there so I know where they are, but I don't necessarily need them. They're sometimes really good to put stuff in when you're going to a craft day or something like that. So at least I know where they are. The one in the middle has all of my, not all of, but most of my glitter, my sprinkles, anything that goes into a shaker. They all live in there, and then my watercolors live on top. Next one over is definitely more of a junk one. It's sort of where I keep all my offcuts of my vinyl, adhesive or heat transfer. They kind of live in there. I've got a notepad on the top, and then I've got my glitter watercolors sitting on top of that. Oh, I forgot, sorry. There's also sitting up here on the top of this Kmart one is my Tickle Pink washi advent calendar. This is the only advent calendar I've got this year except for my own. I'm so looking forward to opening this, and you'll get a video on that really, really soon. But that's sitting up here at the moment so I can keep tempting myself not to open them, I think is the best way to explain why it's sitting where it is, but it's up there for now. So this is the last little bit that I'm going to show you on my desk because the next is all my makeup stuff and you guys are not interested in seeing that. So all my Tombow markers and my Crayola markers have moved up to the top of this other caddy. They actually sit there really nicely, and I have found myself reaching for them more often because they are more accessible to me. On top of that, I've got a quote card holder with a kikki.K one, and there's a Mumsy and Bub one sitting behind it. Plus my Harry Potter glass that has a little plastic succulent in it. If you come down to the first shelf of the Kmart one, I've got my Xyron sticker maker. I've got a bunch of the gold kikki.K Christmas trees. I don't know where they've all come from. But I don't want to put them anywhere else. So for now, they're living there. And then I've got all of my Planners Anonymous sequin kits. They're all there. I've got some glitter sitting down in that next one with in those little plastic tubs. And then I've got my loose stamps sitting next to that. Next one down, I've got all of my Kaiser mists. I find they sit really nicely horizontally and they don't sort of then all settle at the bottom of the thing. They sort of settle on the side, which means when you shake it up, they're a bit easier to get going a bit faster. So they just all live in there, and that way I can also see what colour they are really quickly. Next one down, I've got some more sequins in their containers, and then going down again, I've got a charger and my sprocket living in there. And then the other one's a bit of a junk drawer. It's kind of a junk shelf. It's kind of got an empty misting bottle. It's got some pegs, just little things I don't reach for too often. It's sitting on a step because I got that step to use at the planner markets, and it actually just fits really nice there. It brings everything else up a little bit higher. So I've got some mixed media glue, some more sprinkles, and my eucalyptus oil, which I use to clean all the time. I've also got some deodorant there because that's moved over from my makeup desk. It's not supposed to be there, but just so you know, that's what it is. Alright, so these are the set of drawers that are to my left. You'll see a wide shot in a sec that'll explain exactly where we are right now. So the top drawer here, I keep all of my, I want to say stamps. They're not really, they're kind of all of my letter stamps, word stamps that's not in a set or like on an acrylic block or clean kind of stamp. I've got some old ink pads in here. This drawer is one of the ones that really needs to get a clutter clean out when we move. There's a lot of things in here I need to get rid of because I've kind of gone past them, but they live in there. The next one down is a little bit of a junk drawer. It's got some ribbon, it's got some twine, it's got rubber bands, it's got a couple of stencils and other bits and pieces. I need to reorganize this one when we go. You can tell what my favorite colors are with my ribbons, can't you? But they're living in there for now. The next one is probably the most used drawer in my entire office, and it's my stamps and dies. I've shown you guys a video of this already, but they're all in here. They're all beautifully set out. I'm really proud of this, actually, the way it sits. And we're going to be replicating that at the new house. Oh, it's a hard one to shut though. Next one down has all of my quote cards. Some of them are the ones that came in the old inspiration pack, so they're all sorted here by what they're called, and they've kind of gone a little bit sideways in here, but I'll fix that later. And then we've got all the boxes of quote cards kind of right in there in the back. They still stay in the boxes that they came in, which makes them really easy to store. The bottom one has the overflow of that, so there's a couple of doubles in here. There's also got the really big ones. There's a couple of really big sets that kikki.K have released, like really old ones, so they live in here as well. I've also got those sets of rings that we experimented with when I was breaking planners. They live down here as well. Again, stuff I'll clean out when we move. So moving over a set of drawers, this is what I'd call my stationery drawer. It's where we keep sort of pegs and pins and glue tape, not glue tape, sticky tape, pins, and a bit of everything, but it's my real stationery drawer. I should keep pens in there, but I tend to keep them on my desk. The next one is my insert drawer. I have some blank dot ones, I have some stickers. I've got all of my B6 refills are all in here. This drawer needs to be organised, but at least I know where they all are. The next two are what I call my tool drawers. So the top one here has my tab punch board, my We Are Memory Keepers trimmer, also has my fuse tool at the back there, and it has my old Carl trimmer in there as well. There are some other things, but they're the major ones. The next one down has my Kaisercraft trimmer. It has my 123 punch board. It has some my heat tool, my binding board, my little trimmer, and also has my it has a glue gun in there as well. I have plans to redo the way I store my tools, so they shouldn't be in drawers going forward. And then the bottom one is my post-it note drawer. Yes, I have a lot. Do I use them all? No. I do need to do a de-stash in here because there are a lot here that are absolutely fantastic that I just don't use. So I'm going to work through those when we move. So that's sort of a list of what's going to happen there. Alright, so this is the last set of drawers in here, and it's probably the one that I don't go into, and it's only because this is where the overhead stand for the camera sits in front of this, so it sort of makes it hard to get into a little bit. But the top one I keep all of my glue tape refills. I have noticed recently that Officeworks doesn't have these in stock as often as in store, so I tend to buy them in bulk sort of when I'm getting low and just buy a ton of them and just keep them in here. I've also got some pens back here, and then right at the back there's some extra pens as well. The next one is my foam tape drawer, where I keep all of my extra foam tapes. There's also a couple of, extra glue dots and bits and pieces. I also keep a mouse in here just in case I need to attach that to my laptop. This is kind of my ribbon and string drawer. I have Kaisercraft, I have kikki.K, I have Kmart, bits of everything that live in there. There's also some die cuts, I think, in there, or some glitters, postcards or something, I don't know. Something that I keep in there. Need to go through that drawer again. This one is definitely just a paper junk drawer. I just chuck in anything in here that I don't want to throw away, or some of this is Canson paper, but most of it's just sort of, yeah, junk drawer. And this is like another paper drawer. I've got a bunch of, so I've got some watercolor pads, I've got some nice cardboard, some more cardboard down there. I've also got a bunch of laminating pockets and things as well. Again, one of those drawers that needs to be reorganized when we move. So that is my end of 2019 office setup. Obviously, it is all in preparation for the move now. I can basically start packing up because now you guys have seen it. I know exactly what's here. The packing part is actually really scary because I'm aware of how much stuff I have. So obviously now I need to pack it all up and move it. But this actually was a requested video and I'm really sorry I didn't write down who requested it. So to whoever it was, I'm really sorry, but thank you so much because it was such a great idea. I will be doing a post-office move and then maybe a final office setup. I don't know, I haven't worked that out yet. Once it's all sort of in and done, there'll also be probably a fair amount of stuff being destashed by me. So keep an eye out on all of the Planner destash groups on Facebook because that's most likely where I'm going to get rid of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know if you have any really great storage tips that I can implement in the new house. I'd so love to hear them. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on all of my social medias so you don't miss anything else from me. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day and I will see you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!